Now on ITV4 to bring highlights from the start of the UK's most prestigious cycling race. Straight from Cornwall, it's Penzance to Bodmin in the very first stage of the Tour of Britain.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4 is sponsored by Zwift, where fun is fast.
We are off and underway. Here comes the chase behind. It's a steep climb. This is a good move now. Can he try and hang on? Lines up for the sprint. Can he steal this one? Is he going to take the stage? Yes, he is. Hello and welcome to the AJ Bell 2021 Tour of Britain. Bit of a breather last year. Well, didn't we all have one of those? But it is back. It is bigger, better than ever. Britain's best cycling race is fighting fit. This year, the AJ Bell Tour of Britain really does live up to the name. Starting in the West Country, the peloton then heads to Wales before racing across the north of England. It all finishes in Scotland, with the champion being crowned in Aberdeen. Really pleased to say, joining me on the AJ Bell Tour of Britain all week this week is Pippa York, a former winner of the race back in 1989, a former British national champion and winner of the mountains classification, not only in the Tour de France, but also the Giro d'Italia as well. Amazing Palmares. Pippa, memories of the Tour of Britain over the years?
A really nice race, always interesting as a rider, and always exciting when you come as a spectator, which I have, on numerous occasions. So yeah, it's a really nice race to be at and to ride in.
And now where it sits in the calendar as well, good prep, as we say, every year for the Worlds that happen for the men 3 weeks today, of course, in Flanders. You'll see why. We've got the likes of Wout van Aert here and Julian Alaphilippe again teeing up for that.
Yeah, we have, and it's roughly we're 3 weeks from the World Championships, so a really good block of hard racing to prepare for that. You'll come out of this, and if you're in good shape, you'll come out in better shape.
Yeah, it is a good block. In fact, the whole race this year, the 8 stages, you can break them up into 4 sort of sections, if you like. 2 in the southwest of England, 2 in Wales, 2 in the north of England, and then finishing off with 2 stages in Scotland. Where do you think the race is going to be won or lost?
I don't think there'll be one stage where it's crucial. The thing about when you do the Tour of Britain and you race to try and win the GC is you have to be in the front every day. And on these types of finishes like we've got in Bodmin, there's going to be gaps, 5-10 seconds here and there, and it's always a tight race.
Yeah, we'll talk about the finish here in Bodmin in just a second. But first, let's hear from some of the riders racing the Tour of Britain this year.
I think some of the stages in Cornwall will be really, really exciting, and the landscape down there is fantastic.
I haven't lined up at a road race in a few years now. I think this is a good one to come back to. I'm excited to do it with Trinity, and 8 days that'll be extremely hard. Mayday, big focus, obviously stage 3, team time trial. Very excited for that one. Really, it's going to be a fast one, and I will be in a Tour of Britain for the first time. I hope to be competitive, and you will me see in the sprint.
We're super excited for this year's Tour of Britain. It looks like a super interesting course, and we're really looking forward to racing each and every stage.
Yeah, there's a stage from my home in Carlisle, across to the northeast, and that'll be a really nice stage. Across the Pennines, nice scenery, as long as the weather's okay. And then there's also a real nice stage in Wales as well, which I'm looking forward to, with a little uphill finish, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
This is my third time racing Tour of Britain. It's my first time racing in the UK since the coronavirus and since my Olympic silver medal. So Really looking forward to it. We have a really strong team here. It's going to be really hard racing.
We are super excited about racing aggressively into some breakaways and adventuring on your crazy roads.
It's my first Tour of Britain. I've been to the race several times for my family to watch. So to be racing on home roads on stage 2 in Devon will be absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there and see you on the road.
Pippa, we hear the excitement from the big names in the sport like Mark Cavendish about coming back to British roads and racing them again, but equally important, maybe even more so, for the more junior riders.
Yeah, it is nice for them, so they get to race with their heroes, some of them. And, you know, if you're local and you have that local knowledge, you'll probably see your family and friends on a hill somewhere, you know, and they'll be cheering you on. And that can be quite important if there's any kind of crucial points where you have to be in the front.
And with the race starting in Cornwall today, there is a Cornish team, of course, on the Tour of Britain this year, St Piran as well. Should know these roads pretty well, should have trained on them. The likes of Steve Lampier should know them like the back of his hand, you'd have thought, zigzagging all over Cornwall. Let's talk specifically about the finish, Pippa, seeing as we are in Bodmin now. You look at this drag, and you think it would be perfect for Mathieu van der Poel if he was back here defending his title at the Tour of Britain. But who would you bank on to do well today?
I think on a finish like this, we're looking at Julien Alaphilippe and Wout van Aert. It's probably a bit too difficult for the pure sprinters like Mark Cavendish. You know, we walked up the hill from the bottom, and it's pretty steep down there.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to rule him out. So I would say between those two.
Yeah. Hostilities will start right here between Wout van Aert and Julien Alaphilippe. Could last all week. Who knows? Let's have a closer look at today's stage now. The start of the 2021 race takes place near Britain's most westerly point in the port of Penzance. After heading to St Just, the first Skoda King of the Mountains points come at Zena and Rosewall Hill. Hale then offers the first sprint points before the peloton heads across the country to the dash at Penryn. Old Carlin Hill is the last Category 3 climb on Stage 1, which is nearly 80 kilometres from the finish. Having passed through Newquay and St Austell, it's an undulating ride to the line in Bodmin. Famous for its pirates, Penzance is set in Mount Bay and has one of the mildest climates in the United Kingdom. Down around the water's edge you'll find pubs and restaurants and the open-air Jubilee bathing pool. Bodmin is the only large Cornish settlement recorded in the Domesday Book. Bodmin offers easy access to the rugged Bodmin Moor, one of Cornwall's designated areas of outstanding natural beauty. Okay, let's get straight to the action now with our commentators, Adam Blythe and Ned Bolting.
Well, the countdown is upon us, and the neutralised rollouts from the Western Promenade in Penzance has begun. The Tour of Britain can get underway again. Thank heavens, after 1 year without the race, it's back, and haven't we missed it just? This intriguing blend of absolute world-class, top riders and big teams mixed up with the traditional concoction cocktail of domestic pros, young riders just making a name for themselves, and a smattering of international talent too. That's Joey Roscoff, for example, the American national champion riding for Team Rally. We've got a peloton of 107 riders rolling out in slightly overcast conditions today in Penzance, although we're not expecting rain today, and indeed that mist, that sea mist, if you can call it that, in Cornwall could yet burn off and the sun could shine on this race. Wout van Aert and Mark Cavendish then occupy centre stage, just on the bumper of the race director's car. It'll be a few kilometres, around about 10 minutes before the flag drops. Alongside them, a couple of riders from Quebec and Nextash, Sean Bennett, the American, and Carlos Barbado. And Andre Greipel as well, in his last visit to these shores before finally retiring, the man from the Israel Startup Nation himself as well. Second only to Mark Cavendish in terms of the riders in this race. He has won 7 stages in the Tour of Britain. We'll be back in just a minute or two. Do not go away.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4 is
Sponsored
sponsored
by
by
Swift,
Swift.
where fun is
Fun
fast.
is fast.
Singing or speaking. Reasons are fun. Head or heart. sensitive or strong. Progress isn't either or. Progress is everything. Jess, welcome to your money purse. Here you can see where your money can take you. Talk with a Barclays Money mentor to make a plan to get you there. I've got this. Yes, you have, Jess. Talk to a Barclays Money mentor and make money work for you. Great summer savings at DFS with sofas that will do your home proud. Like the Orca, now just £699. And the Flinton also now £699. But quick, these savings end Tuesday. DFS. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are brighter.
With up to 6 months free Apple Music, free roaming in 75 countries, and 3-year warranty on your new phone.
Some days when your head is much lighter.
O2 are making every day a little brighter. Here come Plus plans. Mission Control, we are go for launch. Copy that, T-minus 10. Initiating route sequence. I just boosted my credit score. For the first time ever, you could boost your credit score instantly for free, only with new Experian Boost.
Dan, tell them about people's postal lottery. They're all asking.
Right, well, it's pretty straightforward. You sign up with your postcode and that's your lottery ticket. You pay a tenner a month, that gets you into every single draw, and you can play for as long as you like. But this is the best bit. Players win cash prizes every single day.
Including the chance to win a share of over £3 million in our multi-postal money prize.
Yeah, but it's not just you guys that win. A third of the cost of every ticket goes towards good causes. It's something like 9,000 different charities. Awesome. Anyway, did someone mention food? Yeah. Getting a lead?
That's real people.
Helping real charities. Winning real money.
Vinted is a perfect app to earn some extra cash with what you don't wear anymore.
And you can sell men's clothes too. Snap, upload and sell without fees to over 1 million Vinted members. Download the Vinted app today.
This is the What Bike Atom.
It's called Peloton.
The smart bike that measures your workouts 1,000 times per second. That links effortlessly to your training apps. And gets these reviews.
It's called Peloton.
There's only one smart bike you'll ever need. And it's only available at whatbike.com.
We're back.
Well done again on the battlefield. What do you know about Operation Minstead?
The press called him the Night Stalker.
It's outrageous. How long he's got away with it?
We've got to get ahead of it, catch him in the act.
Manhunt, The Night Stalker, new drama, starts this September on ITV and ITV Hub.
Cycling.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4 is
sponsored by
Swift, where fun is
It's fast.
Welcome back to the AJ Bell Tour of Britain 2021. As usual, the attacks came thick and fast after the official start. And finally, 5 riders managed to break clear of the peloton. Ollie Stockwell from Team GB, Joseph Roscoff, the American champion from Team Rally, Jacob Scott of Canyon DHB Sun God, Nick Delaney of Team Quebec and Next Hash, and also Max Walker from Trinity Racing. And it was the Canyon DHB Sun God rider Scott who took the first Skoda King of the Mountains points at Zena, a rider more than familiar with his competition, having won it before. Nick Dlamini crested the next Cat 3 climb of Rosewall Hill, and then Scott took the first iceberg sprint in Hale. As we rejoin the race, the gap is still around 2 minutes, heading towards the second sprint at Penrith.
Well, that's the confirmation of Nick Dlamini taking the maximum points over the second Skoda King of the Mountains, the Cat 3 Rosewall Hill. Max Walker in second place, Jake Scott, who won the first climb of the day, relegated to third place, but sharing the lead in the King of the Mountains competition overall, as things stand with Max Walker. Dlamini a couple of points behind him. And there is the sight of the former world champion, Mark Cavendish, the man who went to the Tour de France, picked up 4 more stages, and is now level with Eddie Merckx, as if you needed reminding. But today, he is putting in an effort to try, we would imagine and assume, to get Julien Alaphilippe the victory and take the leader's jersey in a race that his teammate won 2 years ago. Cavendish on the front. 1 kilometre to go, a little bit more than that, 2 kilometres to go until the sprint at Penrith. They're getting ready for it now. For the best part of an hour and a half, not too much has happened as they go through now 1k to go.
It's a quick K.
It was, yeah. Well, I think graphics a little bit out of sync with reality, as they often are, but 1k to go until the sprint.
Looks like 2 different races with the camera angles. We're getting one face in the wind and getting the rain, and then this angle here. It looks like a fairly nice day, doesn't it? But I'm sure these riders are, I'm not going to say welcoming a bit of rain, it's not too hot, but at least it's not chucking it down.
A little bit of cat and mouse on the roads here. Jake Scott, don't forget, is the rider who took the first sprint. Dlamini is very wary of him, keeping a good eye on the British rider from Canyon DHB. It's almost like words are being exchanged with the two of them, but they're just firing each other a glance, and Scott eyeing up Dlamini. All the other riders, including Joey Roscoff, the American national champion, lining up on the wheel of the race favourite, if you put it in those terms. Scott has looked very strong in this breakaway, taking the first climb of the day, scoring again at the second climb, and then taking the first iceberg sprint. And for that reason, he's pinned to the front here, and they're all lining up on his wheel. That's the problem that his strength has placed him in now. It's uphill through this sprint, and they know that Scott is going well, and he's had to sprint from the front, and he's going to have to do this the hard way. There is the sprint finish, and he's going to hold on, and that's a powerful ride indeed. Max Walker in second place, and it's Ollie Stockwell who picks up third. But Scott had it all to do there because they were all lined up on his wheel end.
They did indeed, and it's interesting. I think, when you look at the British riders and the racing that they've had before it, they've done a lot of criterium racing, and criteriums are generally races around town centres, about 1 hour long in distance, but it's a lot of stop-start and a lot of fast sprinting racing. So for these British riders that come and do these races, starting from a lower speed sprint and then accelerating hard like this, they'll be more accustomed to it than sprinting at the end of 200k. So at the end of it, they might have very different sprints to what the riders, the World Tour riders that they have. But for these riders, doing these criterium racing and having that little, very, very quick burst of speed in their legs, it'll definitely help them, as we've seen Jake Scott again taking those points today. And I think that criterium race that he's done will definitely help him and benefit him in those sprints as it has done.
The final climb of the day has just begun. Old Carnon Hill. It's another Category 3 climb. All 3 climbs on today's officially designated climbs. Let's just ignore the fact that they've probably gone over another 74 climbs that aren't officially categorised. But all 3 of the official categorised climbs today are Cat 3 climbs, which means that there are 4 points available for the winner, 3, 2 and 1 respectively. Jake Scott and Max Walker, as things stand, have the most to gain. The 2 riders towards the left-hand side, centre of the road, I should say, in the blue and that multicoloured kit that Max Walker is wearing that belongs to Trinity Racing. The American Joey Roscoff, as he often has done on these climbs, finds himself on the front. The man from Raleigh, Joey Roscoff, has not managed to get himself too much out of today's breakaway so far in terms of a tangible reward for his efforts. But nonetheless, a good opening day out for Joey Roscoff thus far. 81.3 kilometres still to go. Ollie Stockwell has, I'm sure, already learned an awful lot about riding in a big stage race against some lofty opposition, like Roscoff and Dlamini. .2k to go. It's quite a long climb, this, by standards of a Tour of Britain climb, a British climb. It's 1.6 kilometres in length, 5.6 is the average gradient. Levels off a little bit towards the top, so potentially here they're just getting to the steepest part before gradually it just eases off, and the crowds will get ever thicker towards the top of the final categorised climb of the day. Nick Lamini almost trying to ride away, looks across to see where everybody else is, and Joey Roscoff minding his own business on the left-hand side of the road. Meanwhile, Julien Alaphilippe just dodging a Cornish photographer by the side of the road. The world champion from France. Great to see him racing the AJBL Tour of Britain. Great to see him on British roads once again. The man who won the race 3 years ago. I want to say 2 years ago, but of course we skipped a year due to the COVID pandemic last year. Here we go. So gradient's easing off, and now it turns into a classic sprint, really, rather than a King of the Mountain sprint. And that's not going to favour Dlamini, I don't think, necessarily over particularly Jake Scott, who down on his drops. He's kind of muscular, isn't he? He's quite intimidating. He's got a kind of presence about him on the bike.
He definitely has, but I'd like to see one of these riders go early. You know, Jake Scott has been not lucky, he's done very well to get the points, but being able to go so late in a sprint and rely on that great kick that he's got. I'd like to see a rider go before him and go really early and put that sprint.
80.6 kilometres to go in the ride.
They might be able to get the better of him, but at the minute they've been leaving it very late. They've been leaving it until, 50, 100 metres, 150 metres to go, and then he's got this explosive kick. So if you're another rider now trying to get these points, attack him early, try and do something else rather than just wait for him to sprint. If you do that, it's inevitable that he will use that great kick that he's got and be able to take the points again.
Listen to the support at the side of the road.
Yep.
5 deep here on the left, down the right, admiring what is a very, very cagey sprint effectively
all the
for
people
the
here
final
to support
on the day. They have slowed down significantly.
18.3 kilometres to go.
Almost looked like Ollie Stockwell was goaded into opening up his sprints, but now Dlamini trying to do it the hard way. The only
Look at these folk go! Who's going to make it?
Jake Scott now.
Look at him go! What the hell's that man?
And Nick Dlamini might just take maximum points here.
Look at him go!
Too late. Dlamini takes maximum points. Jake Scott, though, picks up second place, and by my calculations,
wow,
that
could
potentially be enough to give Jake Scott the win.
Look at that sprint! You can see why they were trying to do that, trying to sprint down.
He's sprinting, he's sitting down in between sprints to change up a few gears.
Trying to attack, but sprint there. But it wasn't enough.
Could have been crucial, might be able to, if he didn't
to do it.
Down, might be able to get a little bit closer, but great bike.
79.8 kilometres to go in the ride.
Put Jacob Scott under pressure a little bit and take the points off of him.
I think they're just doing the maths now, aren't they? Trying to figure out who's in the jersey at the end of the day. We'll wait for confirmation of who that rider will be.
Look, that's all the support.
Not just the battle for the sprint.
The fans giving the service support.
The great heroes of the World Tour peloton.
79.5 kilometres to go in the ride.
Other races, if they particularly follow the sport, coming right through their town. So, confirmation that Nick Dlamini picked up 4 points, Jake Scott picked up 3.
Picked up for pointing at
That means
little sprint.
Jake Scott, who started
Max Walker is third. Jake Scott
he
is
had
fourth.
a
Is
2-point
second.
buffer over Nick Dlamini. Dlamini has closed it by just 1 point, so Jake Scott is on the road, the virtual leader of the Skoda King of the Mountains. There is Truro Cathedral.
But it's South African rider.
Renaissance piece of architecture dating back to the 19th century. Beautiful. The rain, though, continuing to plague this race.
The rain. I wasn't expecting this kind of weather from the rain.
Unfortunately blown away, and the peloton.
We were expecting nice clear weather, but instead we got rain yesterday in the race.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4
It's sponsored by Swift, where cycling is fun.
The Mercedes-Benz online showroom Search all available cars in one place, see all the latest retailer offers, and get an instant guaranteed part exchange valuation. Sensationally simple. Search Mercedes-Benz online showroom and buy online today.
La 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 la.
There goes Elle. She's on EE's full works plan made for iPhone. Wherever she goes, she'll never miss a beat with Apple Music. Never miss the action with Apple TV Plus. And never miss a move with Apple Arcade. Because it's all on the UK's best network. Get the full works plan on EE. Taking care of business. Tax payroll and cash flow. Taking care of finance stuff. Into it QuickBooks. By getting a smart meter, you're helping modernize Britain's energy system, so it can use more renewable energy, like wind power.
Smart meters. Join the energy revolution. At LV, we understand that you want insurance that looks after all your family's cars. The commuter. The team bus. The electric one. You can save 20% with our multi-car policy. It's the cheapest way to get annual cover for your
We just got breaking news and I couldn't
No
remember
wonder our
into
customers rated us 5
Disney
stars on
Target
Trustpilot.
of
LV,
368 to win events this year.
Go direct to
But
LV.com.
breaking news
What's this? No.
India
That.
have won
Probably think
by
it was a credit card.
127 runs. So India
But
have
that
won the
everything
fourth test match by
actually more like a signature.
157 runs. Reaction and
Visa is a network.
presentation to our side
It helps people move money from here
Well,
to
as I
there
said,
and
India
helps
won
get this shop
by
online so you can sell these jeans from the side of that mountain to the world.
What?
It's the wizardry behind the scenes, connecting just about everyone to just about everyone else. It can open eyes with a cup of coffee and change minds about what makes a business a business. And it's helping to connect everyone, everywhere. Everywhere you want to be, everywhere you hope to be, everywhere you dream to be. It's a key to anyone you want to be. Visa works to open doors all over the world, so more of us can play a part in our global economy. Meet Visa, a network working for everyone.
Vinted is a second-hand app where you can sell what you don't wear anymore.
Hey, it's mine. And you can make some extra cash. You can do it with men's clothes too. Easy to install.
And you don't pay any credit fees.
Snap, upload, and set your price. Over 1 million members are already using Vinted, so you've got a better chance of selling faster. Download the Vinted app today.
You embarrassed me. You don't know your husband. You don't know the words you think you do.
You have to turn me to Vinted.
New Thriller, Angela Black. This October on ITV and ITV Hub.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4 is
sponsored by Swift, where cycling is fun and featuring energy battle of Britain.
Welcome back. So he looks around to see where his teammates are, and Quebec and Nextash have been riding from time to time quite far towards the front, so they've still intending to try and get something.
35.3 kilometers to go in the ride.
But, you know, you talk about talking earlier about the riders who could
Still
launch a
in the
I think
lead.
Alan Schmidt might be that kind of rider as well.
Mark Cavendish is
but he does fall into that kind of. He's a strong young rider, and he could just try something expansive and see what happens.
Again, Mark Cavendish.
Let's hope that a few teams think about doing something like that, because otherwise, if they all just stay together,
35 points
money says there's only going to be one outcome, and that might well be an art victory. Not raced since Tokyo, where he competed in the road race, finishing second place, picking up a silver medal behind Richard Carapaz, and then in the individual time trial, finished in 6th place. But this is his racing debut post-Olympics. The final 25 kilometres of today's stage. 18 seconds is all they have now. As Alpes and Phoenix now matching the Curling Quickstep, matching Tim de Klerk and Mark Cavendish, who are setting the pace in the blue
18 seconds between them.
And meanwhile, Quebec and Next Dash, the team of Giacomo Nizzolo, are around about in the middle of the bunch as Movistar make a bit of a lunge up on the right-hand side.
Looks to be Michael Woods there as well from Israel Start Nation, moving up towards the front. So Michael Woods moving up, knowing that this next climb is going to drop down into it, and it is quite steep at the bottom, and it edges off a little bit towards the middle of the climb and kicks up again. So just getting in position before he starts this next climb to make sure he's able to watch any moves that might go.
It's interesting, just looking at the front of the peloton, trying to second guess what the teams are thinking, and we have noticed that the Israel Startup Nation seem to be using Andre Greipel on the front, and that would suggest to Adam and myself that either Dan Martin or Michael Woods, who are in many ways quite similar riders, might just seize an opportunity there to try something long.
I think they have to. If they want to take time, if they want to try and get a few seconds here and there, then they have to. The problem is for them, like you say, they've got half an hour to leave there.
That's a problem
16 seconds.
Not an easy solution. These three riders are about to be caught. For the first time since they left Penzance, they are almost in the same camera shot. There they are, coming charging at them now. As Israel Startup Nation with Alex Dowsett on the front, do move to the very front of the race. Looking across, Ben Tullett alongside them in the colours of Alphonse Phoenix, the young British rider. And there's a last-ditch attempt now from Stockwell to go clear. It looks like Jake Scott might just be succumbing to the pace that the young Briton is
might be in the lead now. I can't tell who it is, but he might be taking the lead.
Where he's using this
because he always supports them. Whatever people fancy for his always support them to them.
The other riders in the breakaway, and hats off to him. The youngest rider of the 5 who got up the road is going to be the last.
I think the Scott is in the lead at the moment. No one's beating him.
As well, attacking at the bottom and climbing on the steepest bit, and the gap he's got already is a significant one. He's just got to hold on for as long as he can now with that chasing peloton.
Looks classy, doesn't he? Looks really classy.
Even Max Walker had more quicker when he started the race.
As he just goes over the crest of that little climb and
well, I don't know where he is in the peloton. But look at this. Scott is in the lead. No other riders can take the lead away from him.
And then get back on that tempo he just did on that last climb there and set that again. But absolutely flying along a minute. Plenty in the tank left still, hasn't he? Yeah. By the looks of things, anyway. Ooh.
Just into succumb to the pressure at the back, or was that a
rear wheel puncture by the looks of things? There,
stuck in a tiny gear as well. Yeah.
I don't think Scott is in the lead anymore now.
So still the pressure being really put on now at the front of that peloton. Alex Dowsett towards the front. Tim de Klerk still up there. Mark Cavendish still there as well. But great riders, and he's extended that gap, hasn't he?
Scott's back in the lead after that little slip up off the back.
But the information on screen suggests there's only 13 seconds to 2 in the peloton. I think it might be a bit more than that.
Maybe.
This is a notable ride. The biggest and by far the most high-profile thing this young rider has ever done. Enjoying
14 seconds to Scott on the peloton.
Stage race. Ollie Stockwell is looking fine here. A really good ride. Representing a team whose coach Matt Ramier had suggested the sensible thing to do would be perhaps for them to sit back in the peloton and actually learn their trade of riding in the bunch. Well, he's done the opposite of that. He's gone off the front. The young man from St Albans and is going really well. Isn't it? Flamini, who'd been in the original breakaway, just drops off the back. And you're right, Adam, under pressure now in the peloton, this is being shredded.
It's been shredded indeed.
22.6 kilometers left to ride.
Just slowly distancing out the back there, and one of the well
22.5 kilometers
really putting the hammer down at the minute. They've got intentions there. I'm not sure which riders are going for, but really throwing down the hammer
Mark Cavendish
Fourth wheel back still. Line
is trying to
Jumbo Visma sort of you can see a couple of riders can't make out
fight out of
all that work on the front leg just disappeared towards the back there, but great to see Cavendish at the front supporting his teammates Alaphilippe for as long as he can.
Out he goes, Ollie Stockwell. Rampaging ride from been off the front there for a couple of kilometres. How deep can he go into the stage? How much can he hold on to this tiny advantage that he has? Because Alpes and Phoenix have taken control of the peloton. And whatever tactic it is that they've got in mind, it's a real change in the dynamic at the front of the race. Where up till now, it's been controlled primarily.
All riders are now in a peloton.
Now Alpes and Phoenix are riding.
James Shaw just got a quick glimpse up there from Wigglewell. That looks good. Matt Foss. Their GC Hope towards the front, which is great to see.
Another big one.
Sandro Maurice is the rider, I think, just in front of Mark Cavendish. The work being shared by
the head of the race.
Jimmy Janssens, Alexander Richardson, and Sylvain Dillier. Good solo ride as the motorbikes come roaring past the solo rider at the front of the race now. Just one rider on his own, trying to hold off this, which is coming charging up the road with him. And Alpes and Phoenix really riding hard now. And the road is going to continue to rise now. Not entirely without its little descents within it, but by and large it's uphill now until about 15 kilometres to go. So a good 6 kilometres of climbing, and that's how quickly they can really break away back in and really start to ride. So Alpes and Phoenix with 3 or 4 riders then are going to catch the remains of the breakaway, where Ollie Stockwell was the strongest in the end and he lasted longest. And that's it, the race comes back together again. 180 kilometres from Penzance to Bodmin, and with 21k to go, it's all back together.
Looks to be sporadically the riding for Alpes and Phoenix. The last rider
20
Mark Cavendish just on his wheel,
to go.
Very capable
So big away.
will be able to get to the finish today. Well, he still is a fast sprint, I'm sure he is, but we've not really seen him in the sprint so much. But with a reduced group, this might be the day for him today. He's been looking forward to get his chance.
No, I don't know
Being
where
in
Ollie
such a
is
great
now.
team
It's
such
the
as
head
Alpes and Phoenix
of
to be able to get up there and try and get a stage win.
It's a litter zone, in case you're wondering.
20.2 kilometres to go.
That will all be picked up. This is the authorised point, the last point at which riders are allowed to jettison the bits and pieces that they have in their pockets. They get back in Jimmy Janssen, it is. Then Alexander Richardson, Sylvain Dillier, and you're right. The rider that they are riding for quite clearly is Christian Spirali. He did start his career really as a bunch sprinter, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's still got a great class finish up. He did the Tour de France this year. Helping Matthew van der Poel as much as he could for the days he was there, but I'm sure that he'll be looking today if he can get an opportunity today coming into this finish. I'm sure he'll take it, and the team riding with big intention at the minute. I think we just go around this corner and then it kicks up more when we get round here. The last little steep part of this climb, which I think is about 1.2 k's long, maybe a little bit less, but with the steep parts we might see an attack from a rider.
90 kilometres to go.
Still large.
Until the sprint.
Cataldo from Movistar. Just looking for a bit of room there. Wout van Aert alongside the Movistar team. Bogged down with his Jumbo Visma teammates to around about 10th place there, alongside Yves Lampaert and the rest of the Quick-Step team. Davide Ballerini, Mikel Honoré, Mark Cavendish, Lampaert. Where's Julien Alaphilippe? Just riding the coattails there. Sitting in, just tucked in behind Mikel Honoré, the Danish domestique from the Quick-Step. The Jumbo Visma riders who've done the work at the first phase of this race, including Guy Leemreize and Pascal Inkhorn.
18.5 kilometres to go.
Sylvain Dillier is looking very fresh, isn't he?
Nico Roach just on the right hand side of the screen there, his black helmet just gone out of shot, but moving up towards the front of his teammate.
Quite the show from Alpes and Phoenix. They are, of course, the #1 team in the sense that they are the defending champions, even though their leader, Mathieu van der Poel, is not here to defend his title from last year. They're riding as if they own the title of the AJ Bell Tour of Britain. Jimmy Janssen on the front.
Little nod there from Julien Alaphilippe. He just said left-hand side of the road, so he just nodded his head, and then the message went throughout those rides, and Alpes and Phoenix just blocking them in a little bit. Alaphilippe would have done that. So
18 kilometres to go left.
Trying to move up, and him being quite far back in that line, it would be difficult for him to move. So he just wanted to get one side of the road, so he's able to move, so he's able to cover things if needed be.
tucked onto the wheel of Spadali, not too far behind him is Ben Tullett as well.
We got James Shaw there in the orange helmet. He just needs Matt Bostock to come in front of him there just to protect him from the wind that little bit. I know there's not a lot of wind, but Andrew Greipel just coming up now to help his leader Michael Woods by the looks of things. Michael Woods still has Alex Dowsett in front of him. Mark Soler, 14% now on that sign. It just sets a steep part of this climb coming up the last part of the climb.
Alexander Richardson taking over from Alpecin Felix. Jimmy Janssen, I think, is done. He's done his turn on the front, and it was a pretty dramatic one as well. He shut down the breakaway. Jimmy Janssen, Alexander Richardson now with Alexandre Mervis and Sylvain Dillier, 3 riders from Alpecin Felix.
Yeah.
Mauro Schmitz is making an appearance there with Simon Clark for Quebec Next Hash. As riders really beginning to grovel in the wheels at the back. Reece Britton, the young rider from the GB team. So the Koenig Quick-Step still with 3 or 4, including Mark Cavendish, who's really playing his part now, a former world champion with the reigning world champion on his wheel. Such a team of winners, the Koenig Quick-Step. So many different possibilities. And you can see that Alpecin Felix trio of riders have become a little bit detached from their 2 teammates, a little bit further back down, including Christian Spadali and Ben Tullett. Spadali, though, still in that line of riders, just sitting on Wout van Aert's wheel now.
Giacomo Nizzolo there on the left-hand side of your screen in the white jersey with the Italian stripes on his helmet. A very fast sprinter, still there, still moving up. I'm sure the big sprinters that we've talked about so far are all still in this group.
Nizzolo just trying to find the wheel of Schmidt. I think Schmidt will protect him a little bit more because Nizzolo had his nose in the wind there. The Ineos Grenadiers moving Ethan Hayter closer to the front.
We're going to take another bit. Cycling.
Cycling on ITV4 is
Sponsored by
sponsored
Swift.
by Zwift.
Recycling is
Where
for
fun
this fast.
is fast.
Give it a shot. Dad!
I'm busy doing nothing. That's life for me.
Charge your electric car for under a fiver with EDF. While you sleep.
I do best.
Volkswagen is helping install electric charging points at 400 Tesco stores. They're free for everyone. Even the car brands we'd rather not show.
It was the day the world changed forever. Go compare! There he is. Of course, you weren't around before price comparison sites, were you? No? Oh, trust me, it was a nightmare. You'd spend hours trying to find the right company to insure your car, and then still end up wondering if you could have got a better deal somewhere else. Nowadays, you can trust Go Compare to help you find the right deal at the right price. Now, I know you've been telling everybody about the amazing £250 free access cover, haven't you? Got anything to add? Go Compare! Go Compare!
Now they've refunded £1 million.
Rejoice, that Go Compare is there!
He's still on your tenner.
Old Spice gives you the confidence to smell your way to the top. When you smell this good, doors open for you.
The way to the top is full of challenging challenges. You need a deodorant that will keep you fresh. Fierce competition. Do I look like I smell like I'm bothered? And when the heat is on, I still smell fantastic.
Because when you smell like Old Spice, you smell like you're going places. Want to smell your way to the top like me and star in the next Old Spice ad? Apply today.
Vintage is a second-hand app where where you can sell what you don't wear anymore.
Hey, my turn. And you can make some extra cash. You can do it with men's clothes too. Vinted is perfect for giving you second life to all the things you don't need. It's easy to lift your items.
And you don't pay any credit fees.
Sell in just a few steps. Snap, upload, and set your price. Over 1 million members are already using Vinted, so you've got a better chance of selling faster. Download the Vinted app today. Don't wear it?
Sell it.
Change it for good. Kia, the wonderful everyday.
This is the What Bike Atom. The smart bike that measures your workouts 1,000 times per second. That links effortlessly to your training apps. And gets these reviews.
It's a called the Peloton.
There's only one smart bike you'll ever need.
Where's that bike?
It's only available at whatbike.com.
My five killers were identified 13 years ago.
We've had a couple of breakthroughs on the case.
DNA is not just Stephen.
Arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Stephen Lawrence.
The jury only wanted one thing. How did Stephen's blood get there?
Where is he?
Stephen, watch the full series now on ITV Hub. Continues tomorrow at 9 on ITV.
Coverage of cycling on ITV4 is sponsored by Zwift, where fun is fast.
AJ Spell, welcome back to the AJ Spell Tour of Britain.
Welcome back. It's a big battle at the front of this peloton. They're still dropping down towards Bodmin. A bit of a climb to get into town.
7.6 kilometers to go left up the first stage of the Tour.
Greipel with the Cataldo, Richie Port at the front of their respective trains, and Julian
Mark
O'Keefe
Cavendish is up
Carl
right now
just took one hand off the bars,
in the
reached for his
peloton.
bottle and took a drink. So the pace where some of the riders are struggling to hold the wheels at the back.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Cavendish now on the front, just using that aero game that he can going down the hill. He's got Yves Lampard still in his run, and just behind him Alaphilippe as well. So coming into these corners, they'll come out of there probably first and then be able to dictate where they sit.
That was a big, big rush, sweeping right-hander there that they took very, very fast indeed. All-round safety though, Cataldo, Greipel. No opportunity there for him also to crash.
Oh, crash! Unbelievable crash!
Phoenix who's gone down. And from the Israel Startup Nation,
A big crash!
Polyman, who I think went down. That was at the back of the bunch, and there were the riders who were the most ragged of all. It was that big right-hander that they took so fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear me. That's gonna hurt. Really fast. 6.3 kilometers to go.
The Kiwi from Jumbo Visma is moving on to another team next year. 6.2.
Look at them go. Look at all the riders pushing as fast as they can.
The big players towards the front. They will proceed as if nothing had happened. And this reduced bunch, you can see it's a little bit smaller now. As Cavendish continues to work on the front with Lampard.
Yeah, look at Cavendish right there, trying to push in the peloton and trying to take slow instead of Cavendish, yeah. Trying to lead, but it's 5.6 kilometers to go.
As soon as he sees the rider moves up, he'll just edge forward a little bit more, just to protect his leader. Alaphilippe, third wheel behind him, behind Yves Lampard as well. Then you've got just in front of Cavendish, Michael Woods. He's got Alex Dowsett, a great time, shall I see. He'll be able to hold that tempo as long as possible. Richie Port's job's done now. Nicholas Roach by the looks of things.
Simultaneously, Andre Greipel and Richie Port peel over from their respective trains. You couldn't imagine two more different riders doing exactly the same job at this point of the race. As Mark Cavendish takes over, it's been a great ride from him, and his former training partner, Alex Dowsett, moves to the front.
Cavendish now doing a great job, really. We talked about being efficient and how you use other riders to get the best out of yourself. He's not really hit the front yet on a flat part or an uphill. He's always been behind someone. Same again now. He's got Alex Dowsett doing the majority of that work in front of him. If he sees someone moving up, he'll just slowly push them up. That will force Dowsett to push on the pedals a little bit more. He's been a very, very clever rider at the minute, and Alaphilippe is getting a perfect ride to the finish. Still, Quickstep have got 4 other riders around him, so there's 5 riders in total there, so they've got strength in numbers still. Wout van Aert, a little bit further back. We've not mentioned him, we've not seen Declan Quickstep, but very, very apparent there. I think Tony Martin just looking to move him up there.
These are the gaps that have emerged after that crash, then just split a little section of riders off the back. One or two from, well, that's Hollyman, the small rider there from the Israel Startup Nation. A couple of riders from the domestic teams there. The pairing, though, from the Ribble Well-Tide team, they're still there. Matt Gibson and James Shaw, albeit they've been knocked down to around about 25th wheel as Jumbo-Visma now get their ducks in a row and they move up on the right-hand side of the road. Wout van Aert over the other side of the road. And Cavendish constantly checking. Look at that head behind those shades. All that experience, just looking from left to right and right to left all the while. There's Jumbo-Visma. There's Wout van Aert, still with 3 riders to protect him. Nizzolo has chosen that side of the road, and so too has Gats Kuleg from the Movistar team. And David Gonzalez from Caja Rural. Colin Joyce in the orange of Rally being moved closer to the coattails of the Declan Quickstep train. Still Dowsett works on the front for the Israel Startup Nation. Wow. I think it's Michael Woods they're riding for, Israel Startup Nation. They haven't got very many riders left. They've gone through their numbers.
Here we go now, yeah, it's just on this top of this climb now. We drop down again before the final climb to finish, and it looks to be Cavendish getting on the front just over this top, pushing the tempo on a bit, keeping things together. You've got Rowan Dennis now, Ineos Grenadiers on the right hand side, Sylvain Dillier, the Swiss national champion in the red, just tucked in behind him. Michael Wood's still there, Nizzolo still in there as well, and he's not done any work on the front.
It's almost time for the sprint. 3 kilometers to go then, 3 to go.
The last contribution he's going to make now, but he's going to go very, very deep here, Cavendish. Just on this uncategorised climb.
2.9 kilometers to go left.
Fairly soon, Cavendish, but by the looks of him, he's so fresh he could carry on. A huge ride in an uncharacteristic role. Mark Cavendish trying to prove his worth as if he needed to his team. The man who won 4 stages at the Tour de France. Trying to set things up either for Davide Ballerini, who interestingly is still the last man in this Declan Quickstep train, or for Julian Alaphilippe. But that's it. Mark Cavendish takes them to within 3 kilometres of the finish.
Dan Martin just moving up on the left-hand side of your screen now. Rowan Dennis is just tucked away in a nice position, right, left-hand side of the road, right-hand side of our screen. It wouldn't surprise me if he tries to just move up a little bit more, but Ethan Hayter, if he's around Alaphilippe, he's in a good spot. Ballerini as well, still there. Niels Aikoff still there from DSM as well, so a great number of sprinters. You got just down there, Wout van Aert, just getting out of the saddle a little bit more. He seems to have one teammate just in front of him still. Kwiatkowski still in there, I forgot about, still there, just tucked in front of Hayter at the minute.
Yves Lampard, yeah, what a ride for Ian. I'm beginning to think, Adam, that Ballerini is the guy they're riding for today. It's quite possible. He could be a backguard for Julian Alaphilippe, or he could be about to sprint in his own right. So, in theory, this is a finish that would suit Davide Ballerini really well. But then on his coattail, Niels Aikoff, the Dutch sprinter from DSM, and the Ineos Grenadiers.
They are going hard right now. Look at that Leslie Peloton. Normally coming into the finish, you see them all bunched up, but it is just flat out in one line. No rider is moving up at the minute because of the pace that Yves Lampard is setting. You've got Ethan Hayter just tucked in behind Wout van Aert at the minute. Now Wout van Aert's moving up, just in the yellow jersey in front of him, the Jumbo-Visma jersey. Just moving up, trying to gain a few places. 1.9k to go.
Well, this is it. This is the last little climb, and then they'll drop down into Bodmin and line themselves up for the finishing kilometre, which for the first 300 metres rises up at around about 8%.